Well, today we are putting a finish on our sink. I love how this came out, so stay tuned and see how easy this was to do. Alright, so today we are going to work on the kitchen sink insert and the faucet that I purchased. And I can't find any packaging that came with this, so I don't know if there were directions. It's pretty straightforward, but the sink comes in white. It's got kind of a texturing on it. I'll try and get a picture of it where you can see the texture because I doubt the video is picking it up. And then I have a faucet, but obviously this is not the faucet that the sink was made for because this only has one piece where the sink has two holes. So a couple of things we're going to do. This comes in two pieces. I am going to, first we need to figure out how to fill these two holes. I have some ideas. Then I want to get this put together as a single unit so that I don't have to worry about trying to work with two pieces. Then I want to attach this to the sink, which means probably when I fill this, I'll also at the same time put a new hole in for this. So that's my plan of attack for today. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to get some pictures. I think I'm going to try and fill these with caulking. I think it'll work. We'll find out soon together. And then I am going to paint the sink because I have decided I want to make this look like a stainless steel sink, not a white sink. All the appliances in the kitchen are white. I want the sink to be stainless steel. I think that'll look better. And then we have the nice shiny stainless looking faucet, and we're going to make the drain look a little different too when we get to that. So I'm going to turn the camera off, I'm going to take some pictures, and then I'm going to go get my stuff and we'll start working. Alright, first I'm going to say I'm going to do my best to keep my stuff I'm working on in my camera field. For some reason, I've got my camera sitting in a weird place this morning and my area to work is very different than normal. So I'm going to turn this over and work from the bottom. And I've just got some regular caulk. You get this pretty much any hardware store. That may actually have come from Dollar Tree. I'm not sure. Oh, that's a loose piece too. Huh. Okay. I like to always fill from the back when I'm filling holes like this, but I think this will work. It should. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. It's not going to be super noticeable when I put it in the dollhouse. It's not going to be really close to the opening on the back. So, all right. Now that looks pretty good. I do want that to dry. I think I'm going to set it up here so that and I'm going to put it upside down. I'm going to let that dry and get completely dry before I try to attempt to make a hole for our new faucet. Whoops, I managed to put that in the wrong spot. I'm going to let that dry here. I'm going to get this off my fingers, and I am going to, then I'll come back and we'll put a hole in the center of that for this piece to go. So I'll be back when it's dry. Alright, I'm going to zoom you down here a little bit so you can kind of see what I've done. So I marked the very center of this with a pen off camera on the bottom side. I actually accidentally did the top side first, but I wanted to do that off camera because I knew I wouldn't be able to get it where you guys could see and I could see also. The caulking is fairly well dry, and I have the smallest drill bit I could find. Now I am going to do something that's not really recommended. I'm going to do this with my fingers. I've done it before on things. If I have to, I'll get out my Dremel, but I would really rather not get out my Dremel. This is a very slow process. I've lost my little pin vise that I used to use. I don't know what happened to it. Yeah, I'm going to probably have to get out my Dremel. So I'm going to do this off camera. This was, like I said, it's the smallest drill bit I could find this morning. So I am going to use this, make a hole where that is. I can't get it over here where the camera is, and where I've got power, I don't have enough light to film. So when I get a hole drilled that's big enough for this, which I think this one will be. If not, I'll have to go up one size. When I get a hole drilled, I'll be back and I'll tell you how it went. All right, that was pretty quick and easy to do. It took me longer to get out the tools than it did actually drill the hole, of course, but it fits just fine. And for reference, that's a 1/16 of an inch drill bit that I was using. I looked when I put it back. But now I want to glue this together so that I've got just one piece to put into the sink cabinet. And I think what I'm going to do, I have some E6000. E6000 is good when you're gluing plastic together. And I've got cute toothpicks over here. So I am going to glue from the back because two things. Number one, then my glue won't show on the front. And secondly, I can make sure that this is level against my tray. I'm going to run I'm going to get this run around the entire sink, and when it is run around and dried, I will come back and we will start the painting step. Alright, our E6000 has dried overnight, and now this is nice and stable. It's a single piece, so it will be ready to insert into our counter. And we could leave it this way if we wanted to. I'm painting mine. Like I said earlier, I think I want to make a stainless steel sink. And for the steel part, for the main color, I am going to use this brushed metal paint in brushed silver. This is one of the ones that Plaid sent me a while back for free. But underneath that, I'm going to put a coat of matte black. If you've watched my channel for very long, you've already seen me do this. I very seldom will put any kind of metallic paint on a surface that I don't first put a coat of another color under it. Couple of reasons. Number one, I think this stuff is much thicker. It will block light better, so if there's any light coming in, it won't show through. Sometimes these plastic pieces can show. A little bit of light can come through them and kind of ruin that illusion that it's metal. Also, it's a nice matte paint, and these paints, the black, I think, will be more opaque. Many times, no matter how good a metallic paint is, in my opinion, they're not all that opaque. They tend to, you see through them more. And when you're buying your paints, usually your metallics, a lot of times a specialty paint, I haven't looked at the prices on these, but I'm betting this costs more than this. And for this coat of black, you could use any black. You could use a really cheap craft paint if you wanted to, although this will be more opaque than a cheap one. And I do like using the better paints. They just go on better. They look better, they go on better, they're more fun to use. So I am going to paint this completely, and I will go back off camera, make sure I haven't missed any spots, and I'm actually going to paint the back side also. I won't be painting silver over that back side, but I want to paint this sink inside and out with black. That will just, I think, make it look more solid. Just in case some stray light shines through from underneath, it won't shine through the sink. So when this paint is dry, I'm actually going to pop a lid over my paint I put out. I'm going to grab a wet wipe and wrap my brush. I'm going to let this dry. I'll check it for spots I missed. Then I'm going to flip it over, paint the back side, and when both coats are dry, I'll come back and we'll add the silver. Alright, for the most part, my black paint is dry. There might be a slightly damp spot in that one corner. So I'm going to put out some of this brushed silver, I really love this paint. I think it's my new favorite metallic. And I'm going to, and this might take a couple of coats, and it's going to be a very dark silver because of the black undercoat. But I'm okay with that because stainless steel sinks are usually, at least the ones I've seen, are usually pretty dark color. So it's going to take at least 2 coats. But with the black undercoat, I know that no light will come through, and the black won't show as much in any missed spots as the white would have. So I am going to go ahead and put this coat on, making sure I get this rim, but I'm not going to do this bottom part. I'm just going to go make sure I get all of the rim. I'm going to be wrapping my paintbrush up in a clean wet wipe again so that I don't waste the paint that's in the brush. And off camera I'll come back and give this a couple of coats. And then when it's all nice and looking the way I want it to, I'll come back and I'll tell you how many coats I used, and we'll go to the next step. Alright, the paint is almost dry on the silver. It's got a little bit of wet over there, but we've got this little fake drain here, a little indentation down there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a fairly small brush, put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing, and I'm going to take just a little bit of black paint and try to stay in that spot. There's a little bit of wet paint there, but I just want to put a little black there. That way, when we look at the sink from the side, from a distance, it will look like there's actually a drain there. So now all of this paint needs to dry completely, and then we're going to put a coat of Mod Podge on it. So I'll probably let this sit overnight. I'll see you then. Alright, this has dried overnight, so I'm going to use some matte Mod Podge. I don't want to have a really high shine on this particular piece. I just want a very subtle shine, and I think I'm just going to squirt a little bit in onto there. I don't want to waste a lot of Mod Podge, but as usual, I very seldom dip into the bottle. I like to decant out my Mod Podge and use it. I don't like to use it from the container. I've had bad experiences with that. I'd rather waste a little bit at a time than ruin the whole bottle. Now you could, this has a nice finish, you could skip the step of putting the Mod Podge on, but I think it protects it a little more. Now, I'm not concerned about painting the plastic because I know this won't get handled a lot, and I know that the craft paint is compatible with plastic. Alright, so I'm going to wash my brush. I'm going to let this dry, and when it's dry, I'll be back and we'll see how it looks with the faucet in. Alright, so this is dry, or pretty much dry, so I brought over the cabinet. I'm going to put this in, kind of get a look at it. We're obviously not going to glue it in yet, but we can see at least a little bit of that. And the hole for the faucet is really tight. So that is how it's going to look in the kitchen. I love how this came out. This is a really simple one to do. You really just have to paint it. And I could have left it the color it was. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I love it if you push that like button. Leave me a comment. I try to get back to everybody. I don't always get all of them, but I try. Be sure to check the blog post for photos. And if you haven't found us on Facebook, join us over there. Oh, and if you haven't subscribed and you enjoy my content, I would love to see you hit that subscription button and then hit that notification bell so you know when I put up a new video. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.